And back inside the Backstage Pass show number 2 of 3 today. We're actually doing the triple header there, or as hitting for the cycle here on the Backstage Pass presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out, the official drink of CMA Fest, which is going on this week. Kirsty Krause been sending videos all the way from Nashville too at the Vibe stage. And we've had everybody from Maddie and Tay to Ryan Griffin, our good friend Ryan Griffin, to everybody out there. Chapel we covered the For Love and Acceptance event last night for Ty Herndon. So check it out, thesportsguyspodcast.com, and anywhere you can find us on social media out there. We'll be pushing live videos, and I'm happy I may get to go to San Antonio this weekend because one of the cool things out there, and also presented by Honky Tonk Texas and Bangtail Whiskey, is this gentleman playing at Pedrati's Ranch tomorrow night, doors at 7. Opening for our previous guest right there, Scotty Alexander. Chuck Wimer to the broadcast. Chuck, how you doing, brother?
Good, Brandon. How you doing, man?
It's a busy day, but this is a good day when you have concerts tomorrow night and live shows presented by Full Circle Moments. Ticketbud.com for tickets now, and take advantage of that silent auction out there too, which is going to be great. 100% of that raffle for Texas Hunter for Heroes and Full Circle Moments. 100% go to the veterans that they serve, man. Well, tell me about this because you guys have been busy with What About That Guitar? We'll get right into it. I believe that came out May 10th for you guys across all the digital platforms. Tell us all about this and kind of how this got started. I think it's a nice song, and it really fits the Texas charts for me.
It's funny. Okay, so I listened to the previous interview. I was listening to Scotty, and he was talking about how you always have to, as a writer, have to have a story behind the song. And I'm reluctant to release this story, but I'm going to. Okay, because I've heard of all, I know everybody who's been on here, so I'm just going to be an open book. That was kind of a shot at Nashville.
Okay.
So Nashville and Texas, they kind of got the music scene has a little bit of a rivalry going back and forth, right? You got the Nashville kind of a poppy sound right now, and then you've got Texas with more of the traditional 80s and 90s. And one of the people I knew that was arguing with me a lot about, which style's better. And I said, well, it's not that hard to write a Nashville style country song. You just got to have, the certain things just got to be in there. And so I wrote one, and then I took it into my producer, and it was as kind of a gag. It was like, we're looking over the songs to put on this record we're doing this year, and we're doing a full length record. So I had some spots open, and I've played that one as a joke. My wife was kind of laughing at me, and she manages the whole thing, so she knows everything I play. And she's laughing because she's like, I can't believe you're playing that song for him. And he said, let's do that song. And I said, oh, you got to be kidding me. So we ended up taking it to that Nashville sound, but then bringing it back to this side of Texas country so that it fits in the market that I'm playing in. But that was the whole thing. You just need that river song that you're trying to get the girl, and you got to talk about bikinis, and then you're good. That's a Nashville song right now as far as everybody was concerned.
Well, I love that too, and you guys have to be excited. I mean, taking the stage and the floodgates open. I was telling Scotty there a little bit too on the show that you're busy. He's playing with Pat Green this weekend in Seabrook. He's got a show in Midland coming up on the 17th, and I know you're busy too because it's like the CMA Fest is back. The rodeo is back this year. All this opening back up, and you guys getting on stage doing what you do best has to feel good again.
Yeah, well, we lucked out at the time. We were really, really a smaller act, right? It was just me and a guitar to open this whole thing up. And unfortunately, COVID struck and put everybody out of business. But it opened a door for a 42-year-old guy to go out there and start playing his first few shows and seeing what happens. And it was almost beneficial. I hate to say it that way, but it was that Randy Rogers couldn't fill places because people might get sick at his show. But I could put 15 people on a patio, and I could go out there and make a name for myself. So, God's always looking out for me is the way I look at it. And, he's taking care of me even when I don't deserve it. So we got a bunch of stuff now. We got all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
Which is good. And I think that's really cool because, and I'm with you on this whole thing with 90s country, and I love it. The fact is, I kind of feel like I guess getting the vibe from Nashville or some of the artists that I talk to here on the program and just in general conversations having on a daily basis via text, phone call, or email. It's a really cool thing because I think there's a lot of younger artists now remembering that decade and knowing that, man, this is just a good feel for these type of songs to come back in. Somebody was asking me today, favorite artists. And I said, well, yeah, I've had John Michael Montgomery stand behind my program here, Neil McCoy, Tracy Lawrence, and just great people who believe in that decade. But those were songs we grew up listening to, Chuck, and I really feel like there's a thirst for this type of music again.
Yeah, and for folks I know, myself, Scotty, Bernie Nelson's still writing, David Lee's still writing. We're all still writing we're trying to keep up with what the times want, but also we want to still keep our roots. You know, I grew up on this sound, so I want to make sure that people get to hear what inspired me in my music. You know, I was a big Chris Ledoux inspired artist, so you're always going to get a story in my song. So even with What About That Guitar, you got a story in there. You know, it's all about, you know, I was a fifth wheel on a double date, right? So these two are paired off, and I'm that extra guy who's just out there sitting by the campfire, you know, with a guitar. And so that's what I try and stay true to. And it's one of those things that I don't think I'll ever break away from.
No, I wouldn't either. And let's go back to last year, and this did it for me too, because you had a really cool thing, Best Man, which was, I should say, 2023. I won't say last year because this came out this year as a single. Again, you know, you got a really cool cover on it. I mean, the rings kind of right there too at the same time, intertwining each other, one kind of standing up, one kind of laying down there. But the song itself really described a lot of just things that people go through in everyday life. I mean, the best man, and never forgetting that wedding day behind it too. Tell us where this one kind of came from.
So I had done a song before that only went to streaming. It was the second song we recorded, and it was called "If He's Not Going to Love You, I Will." And a buddy of mine from church, who was the drummer at the church by the time I was done leading worship there, he said it sounds like a friend zone song, and it was like, well, that's not a friend zone song. That's you're the third guy in a cheating relationship. So I was like, I need to be a little bit more clear about a friend zone song. So I started thinking about the relationship between a guy who's just sitting there, always being the fallback, always being, you know, ready to take care of that person that he really thinks he should be with. And then it never happens. And then in the end, you know, his best friend ends up being the one that's marrying the one that he thought he should be getting married to. And I thought, okay. So if you look at the picture again, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's 3 rings on that.
There is
cover.
3. Yeah, I missed one.
Yeah. and it's really subtle. My wife ended up, she went out there and scoured and tried to find that image. And I was like, no, we need 3 rings. And she's like, all right. Took her forever to find it, but she found it. And then she put all that together. But yeah, it's you know, I always thought I was going to be the best man. And then sadly, I was the best man at her wedding, you know.
I love that too. Let's talk about another one that was really cool out there too. You guys got to release to the fans. There's No You, which came out there March 10th of this year too. What was the backstory of that
one? So we lost my sister a while back, and about 6 years ago now. And the one thing that I remembered seeing when we were, because it was one of those, hey, you need to get out here. We just lost her. We're doing the funeral. Everything was moving really fast. So, and she was out in Arizona. So we're out there at her place. And the one thing I saw that really stuck in my brain was there was the lettered magnets on the refrigerator, because her and her fiance were kind of together, living at the house together, and they'd send messages back and forth on the refrigerator. And I had that idea in my head, but I was thinking of, you know, the rainbow colored magnets, right? So that first line of the song, rainbow colored magnets spell out I love you. I had that written out, and it sat on my desk for 3 years. And this is no joke. It's not an exaggeration. Just sat on my desk. I'd put other things on top of it and write other songs, and then it would still be there on the desk. And then finally I sat down and I said, okay, I'm going to be a professional writer today, and I'm going to write even though I don't feel inspired. And I sat down and I started thinking. I was like, okay, so the rainbow colored magnets, I'm looking at a refrigerator. What else is on a refrigerator? Okay, probably a grocery list. There's going to be a grocery list there. All right. And then some cards. All right. Now I'm going to look to the right. What do I see? I'm looking out a window. I see a swing set. All right. This isn't a leave-in. This is she's gone. Right. And I got to make that very clear. So that was the whole idea behind the song, is I had to really paint the image of this person they shouldn't leave him. She passed away, and he is unwilling, even though he knows, which when you get to the bridge, he knows that he should do things to do better in life. He just refuses to, because he doesn't want to lose that memory.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. I love photos from singles or album covers, single covers, and you've got like 2 little saucer cups right there, kind of sitting next to each other, where you got them just, sitting right there, almost acting like a coaster, but something kind of safe for it to sit on right there, so it doesn't spill, and it just kind of neck and neck really fit, each other, kind of right there, staying so close you'll never forget that memory. At least that's what I took from it there. There's no you, because nobody's going to replace you, because you are you. That's the way I look at a song like that. We'll take a quick timeout. Don't forget, coming up today, I got contacted last night to do a third show. I was like, yeah, we'll do a third show. Love and Theft coming up at 4:30 today. Our good friends Steven and Eric there. Been around. We'll take you back to 2011, a song called Angel Eyes. You might remember was a big hit for them too as well. Love and Theft doing some big things out there. Great songwriters. And of course, CMA Fest going on this week in Nashville, Tennessee, out there doing some meet and greets. I know the Vibe stage has been busy, and we're putting up content all this week thanks to our friend and our co-host here at the Backstage Pass, Kirsty Krause. She'll be out there at the fanfare doing all kind of cool stuff out there, meet and greets. And everybody who's been on this show is hanging out there at CMA Fest, except for me, because I got to be in San Antonio this weekend too. But next year we plan a trip, hopefully, to CMA Fest 2024 there, at least to do a weekend and some shows live from Nashville, Tennessee. Presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, bangtail.com, easyliquor.com, Live Oak in Nashville. Went to the bar back at CRS this year. We had a great time. Check out our friend Brandon Bing out there too. The great stuff he's doing with Bangtail, flooding the Texas market, Total Wine and Specs, and everywhere you can find it. And of course, Honky Tonk Texas down here in Silsbee. Randall King show a few weeks ago sold out. Our good friend Derek and the support he gives the show, and another sponsor coming on board here in a matter of weeks. Quick timeout, more with Chuck Wimer. It is the Backstage Pass. You can hear us on hightidecountry.net. And, of course, all the shows are archived at the sportsguyspodcast.com. It's Full Circle Moments, the Backstage Pass. Coming right back. More with Chuck Wimer.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle. And the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And we're back on the show again, the sportsguyspodcast.com. And of course, our friends at hightidecountry.net, the internet station, plays our show 3 times a day, 4 times a week. So if you miss it, go and head over there where all the shows are archived and repeated there too as well. 4:30 today, Love and Theft tomorrow. A couple of great shows, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll do a little matinee. Tristan Cole going to stop by, and then tomorrow, one I've been looking forward to for a while. You might remember the Murder on Music Row. He'll tell us all about it, and then some, include a new album out. Sammy Sadler here on the Backstage Pass tomorrow at 2 o'clock here. Some great shows next week as we do post CMA Fest. Back here with Chuck Wimer, of course, the big event tomorrow night, Pedrati's Ranch in San Antonio, Texas, or should I say specifically Helotes out there, where I got married. Doors open at 7. Ticketbud.com for tickets now, presented by Full Circle Moments, and our friends at Texas Hunter for Heroes have partnered there with a raffle. 100% of the proceeds going to the veterans that they serve out there. So make sure you guys check out Chuck Wimer opening for our previous guest, Scotty Alexander. What about that guitar is the current single out there across all the digital platforms. And I wanted to ask you about another one too, because you guys kept busy. I mean, you started out 23, on fire. Another one that I loved a lot, speaking of songs that really just mean a lot. Amazing. You got the holding hands of the single cover. And that one is just, again, these love songs kind of come out there, but they mean so much. And I know you're, you love it out there. You love your family guy like me. These songs just really fit what you do. I really think so.
Well, thanks. I've had a hand in writing everything that's on this record. So everything that everybody's getting this year, on the 10th of every month, we're releasing a new song. We only have the one that's on radio, which is One More Day. But for streaming, we're putting out a new song every month on the 10th. And that was the one we wanted to put out for Valentine's Day. I wrote that one a couple years ago. My wife, she goes up to the mountains in Colorado and helps my mom run a restaurant up there. Mm-hmm. They've been doing that for probably, about a dozen years or so now. And whenever she's gone, it always feels like everything is upside down for me out here, right? Because she manages the music. She, of course, as a man, she manages my life as her husband, so she's, every time she's gone, everything's like, oh man, just the world is different. So I tend to write a little bit more love song, miss you songs whenever she's gone. And that was one that I put together. We actually had to chop off a verse because that was going to be a 5.5-minute song. Yeah, we didn't want to do that. So thank God I have a great producer who was like, hey, we can probably do this and this. and we were able to shorten that one up, and we're real happy with that one too. That was a good February song.
I'm sure that'll be on the playlist tomorrow night for the show there at Pedrati's. So have a little fun with that one too. I want to say this too. Congratulations and thank you for 13 years in the U.S. Army. I want to salute you for that. Talk about that too, because honestly, man, the sacrifice you make, your family makes, people you love around you, friends, coworkers, things like that. Never an easy thing to do, but again, thank you for your service, no doubt.
It was my pleasure. I had the pleasure. I played with dogs for 13 years. That's really what I got to do. I had the best job in the military.
Mhm.
I went in as a military policeman, and then that first year I was over in Korea, and they had this club, right? Every base has their clubs, and this one was the local stab and jab. Like everybody was just trying to murder each other in there. It was that was how rough it was.
Mhm.
And they basically called all of us out. They said, "Hey, all military police, get out of the club. You're not going in there. We're going to wait until it dies down." And they sent one guy with a dog in, and that dog was one of those dogs that he had him trained on cue, told him what to do, and the dog would just start barking.
Mhm.
So he went over to the DJ booth, told the dog to start barking. The dog is barking over the microphone and the amplifiers, and that entire place, they came out single file. And I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do.
Mhm.
So after that first year, I put in to go become a canine handler, and that's what I did for my entire time. And then the last 3 years I was there, I ended up being a trainer, and that's how I ended up in San Antonio, because Lackland Air Force Base is where they train all the dogs that go out to the rest of the Department of Defense. And I was one of the ones that was training the dogs from the beginning and getting them ready to go out to start doing their job. So it was great.
Those animals are some of the most important animals that do their job out there too. And man, it's just again, kudos to you, and just commend you for doing that too. The service, sacrifice you made for the country, and then again, those dogs are just very important to the military for the jobs they go out there and do. I want to go back to an EP that I thought some really cool songs were on there too. They really can, again, just to get a chance to listen to a lot of music here on the show. Dancing in the Rain, the EP was The Road Never Ends, and it came out in last year, 2022. Let's start with that song and then kind of work our way up to Whiskey, Texas, and You, man. That really described the things that people love in the state of Texas.
It really does, doesn't it? Starting with Dancing in the Rain. That's the only song that I've put out on an EP that I didn't write myself.
Mhm.
My dad wrote that song, and I liked it so much that I said, "Hey, can I record this?" Because he wasn't recording, and he said, it was kind of funny. He's like, "Well, it's still my song, right?" And I said, "Of course, it's still your song. I'm not asking for the writer's credit. I'm just asking, can I record your song? And then, you'll get your songwriter royalties, go register, blah blah blah." And so we recorded that, and I do it a little bit differently than he does. He's got a different tempo for it, and I got changed a couple of words here and there, but not enough to even call it a co-write. So yeah, that was the whole thing. I just wanted my dad to have a song on the radio that he had written, because that was something that we talked about while I was growing up. I was 16 years old and starting to write, and that was his dream, was to be a writer and have people recording his songs. So I got permission to record his song, and that's where we went with it. It's a fun song. We've actually had people dancing in the rain at shows because it starts raining and we're under a canopy, and they're out there, they're just having a great time. They remember too. They're like, "Hey, that's the guy. He was playing that song and we were dancing in the rain." And I was like, "That's the name of the song. Don't forget it."
Did y'all do any t-shirts with them with your merch, Dancing in the Rain, like t-shirts? Or is that...
Yeah, we did. We never did a line for that one. We probably should have, just because of how well it works out. Like just an umbrella. And
Yeah, the reason I say that too is because my friend, I just got some in. It was actually one of my friends from Bernie, Texas, Nashville artist Alyssa Michaela, and she put this song out called Tie Dye, and it made me think, okay, you can picture what tie dye is like. Well, she made a tie dye shirt, and on the back of it, one of the lines of the song is "Let it do what it do," and she put the shirt in tie dye, and on the back she put "Let it do what it do," like a lyric from the actual title of the song.
Yeah.
And yours was making me think dancing in the rain, like some kind of colored t-shirt with a picture of people actually dancing in the rain.
Yeah. And every time they show up, we just hose them down real quick.
It doesn't rain, you just hose them down there too, no doubt. Desert Rose, that was also on the record. Give us a little story on that one.
Yeah, that poor song. We've been trying to find the best time to release that one to radio. It was actually scheduled to be, I think it was the summer song we were going to try and do a while back, and then it ended up getting bumped for Dancing in the Rain, and so it was going to be the early season song. And then we were looking at it again for this early season song, and it ended up getting bumped by one more day because as we keep going through the studio and things just keep getting better. But that's another one that's about my wife. We met in Arizona and we moved out to Texas, and so that line, she's my desert rose in a Lone Star town. I took that Arizona girl and we brought her out here to this Lone Star state. Man, we just going ever since.
That's one of my favorite things is to go out there. That's a favorite state, first of all, is the beautiful state of Arizona, which I love going out there. I'm a Cardinal fan, so I love football, going out there, watching games, and just having a good time. And that scenery out there, Chuck, as you know, that's one of the best sceneries that you can ever see with the local parks, the state parks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Of course, what's the canyon I can't think of right now? I have many of them out there, not the Grand Canyon, but there's many of them out there, and I'll think of it here in just a second. But just so many great views and public parks out there too, and it kind of made me think, Desert Rose, and then back into Texas. It just kind of the states really kind of go hand in hand. They do.
Oh yeah, my view from stepping out on my front porch, because where I grew up, everybody had an acre of land, and that was the minimum to be able to put a house on the property. And I'd walk out on my porch and I'd look off to the right, and all I'd see is desert on the ground, and then every now and again you'd see like a rooftop. But we had the Superstition Mountains that were that was my view looking down the road, and it was just one of those things that if you weren't a songwriter, that wasn't the house for you. Like that's where you really needed to be, because you just had inspiration every time you walk out the door. You might have been thinking of Sedona, though.
Sedona, that's exactly what I was about to say too. I haven't done it yet. I've seen the pictures of it, and I've gone probably that direction out that way because a buddy of mine owns a bar out there, and just I guess what do you say, south of Phoenix, somewhere in there too. But it's a beautiful place, and Sedona is the one that I've not seen. All the Red Rock, they call it Red Rock Country.
Yeah.
I mean, the wildlife out there is really cool. And that's the cool thing is you can take even one in Phoenix out there too. And Scottsdale, where I usually stay out there with a family and friends. We got some property out there that we have, and we just love it out there because it is a beautiful state, the Red Rock State. I love it so much. It really is.
That's going to be good. In November time frame, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do a couple of solo shows out there. So
you know what? I am planning a trip for, 3-4 days or something out there. I may have to holler at you because good possibility I'll be out there, catch a show, and go to a Cardinal game. Not that we're going to be any good this year, but I still like to support my team and Kyler Murray too. Plus, I get free tickets, so I can't go wrong with that too. When it comes,
I feel your pain, man. I'm a Bears fan. We've had it's been bad since '86.
Well, yeah, but I will say that I just expect something in the works. Tells me that with the draft they just had, there's something with Fields. I think Fields is going to come around this year. There's something about the maturity of him growing up as a quarterback. If you put a DJ Moore kind of around him too right now as a wide receiver, you got a pretty good running game, a pretty decent offensive line. Eberflus can't be as bad as he was the previous few years, so this ought to be a decent year. I expect him to contend, and I'll tell you this: I got Detroit winning the North. I'll tell you that.
You're gonna be wrong on that one. If Fields does what he's supposed to do, right? Because this is going to be the flashlight season. This is going to shine the light and say, okay, either you're a quarterback or you're a running back. And if he is truly a quarterback and he just had nobody to throw to, then Detroit will end up in second. And if he is a full, if he's just a running back that can throw the ball a little bit, then they'll be fighting Green Bay for the ball.
Rodgers is gone, no doubt. Jordan Love era begins, so it's going to be a fun NFL season. Just whoever's in it, I'm tired of I got tired of the Patriots years ago, Belichick and the whole story, and Tom Brady. I'm kind of getting, no disrespect to our Texas boy, but man, I'm just tired of seeing the Chiefs just do what they do, but they're a good football team. 2 of the last 3 titles, and it's just I'm ready to see some new blood. And one of those teams, I don't know if you follow, I'm sure you do, but the Dallas Cowboys, Chuck, what the hell are we going to do to get America's team right again?
From what I've heard, this is their year.
I guess if we can have a year, ever hope there was a year for Dallas maybe this year.
Every time I talk to it, I have no problem with the team. I think the team's fantastic, but Cowboys fans, for whatever reason, boy, they just it's like a cheese grater with a penny. It's just bad.
It's bad, no doubt about it too. We'll come back. A little more music to talk about. Rapid fire coming up here in a little bit. Don't forget, we're not done. 4:30. Love and Theft coming here on the Backstage Pass, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and Honky Tonk Texas. And of course, new sponsor coming on here in a couple of weeks. And definitely tomorrow night, reiterate again, the big show. Chuck Wimer, Scotty Alexander, Pedrati's Ranch, San Antonio, Texas, there in Helotes, Texas. just outside of San Antonio, and you guys will have fun. Doors at 7, silent auction, big time raffle out there too with Full Circle Moments, Texas Hunter for Heroes. 100% of the proceeds go to the veterans that they serve. We appreciate that and all the work that they do. And ticketbud.com for your tickets now to see Chuck. And if I get out there tomorrow night, let's shake some hands and have a good old time and drink some Bangtail whiskey and have a good time with whatever our beverage of choice is. Coming back with Chuck, more here on the show here on the Backstage Pass. Also hear us at hightidecountry.net, great internet station out of Oklahoma. Our friend Buster does a great job with that too. And all shows are archived at the sportsguyspodcast.com. More to come with Chuck here. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here with Chuck Wimer. It is the Backstage Pass final segment today. Of course, 4:30 11th Theft coming up here. We'll talk about CMA Fest. They're doing some meet and greets out there and performances this week as CMA Fest is going on. Look out for some videos from our friend and co-host Kirsty Krause up there too. She's taking part in that. And definitely thanks to our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and Honky Tonk Texas for all the work they do out there. Speaking of dance halls, tomorrow, or a place you get married at or just have a good time, the Ranch, Pedrati's Ranch, tomorrow night in Lotus, Texas. It'll be Chuck Wimer, Scotty Alexander out there too as well. Ticketbud.com, Full Circle Moments, and Texas Hunter for Heroes have partnered up. Big time raffle coming up tomorrow night too. And when you get in there, that's like the first thing you look at these shows is which one of these, the raffle, what's coming up for these bids and these silent auctions, all kind of cool things you can bid on, have fun with it. 100% of the proceeds from the raffle go toward the veterans that they serve. So appreciate all that they do, and I'm sure you guys are going to have a great time tomorrow night out there. Again, tickets at ticketbud.com. Hey, I want to kind of ring in the year because we're almost halfway over with this. And I mean, ring in the year, I should say, the summertime, I guess you could say, since we're half the year over. You guys did a really cool spin on a Christmas song. I love this Christmas Time Again, which came out last year. How much fun was that to do? And is that one of your favorite holidays?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Christmas. I like to see everybody light up and have a good time, and I like the tradition that goes along with it. Like there's you got Bing Crosby's going to be on TV. You're going to see what was that movie with the angels get their wings? I can't even remember the names of the movies. But Miracle on 34th Street.
Yes,
you're going to see all those things are going to be on. It's you're just waiting, right? And you're going to have all the cartoons. My wife waits for all the cartoons, Charlie Brown's Christmas, Rudolph and all that stuff. And no matter how many times she's seen it, it's always, we're going to have to watch it because it's tradition. And so I started thinking of all those traditions. I actually wrote Christmas Time Again. That was a song that I wrote that in the summertime.
So there you go.
Like July.
Never too early enough to start thinking or talking about Christmas when you hear a song like that. And I got a chance to, like I said, we check out everything here on the show. So it's kind of cool to check out something different compared to just the regular tunes that come out, which are fantastic too. But it's kind of cool when you guys put your own spin and write a cool Christmas song like that too. All right, before I get into tomorrow night's going to be fun. I know Scotty brings on the shows. I can't wait to catch you. And maybe I'll get my ass out there tomorrow night if I get a chance to get in town on time tomorrow for that, but I'm not going to try to rush it. I'm not going to have a record like that, but I want to get to town if I can come out there tomorrow night because it's going to be a lot of fun. The energy, the crowd. I mean, again, we talked about, you guys being out there on stage. This is a cool thing. Marlene Cox does a great job at Full Circle Moments and has done this for the past few years, putting on some great concerts. And I'm sure you guys are just waiting for a really cool audience tomorrow night to play for, have a good time, have people dancing. There's room to dance out there. Always concession stands can get I'll tell you what, the barbecue sandwiches, if you get one now, Chuck, Texas barbecue out that way is pretty damn good in Helotes. I can't say where I'm at right now in this part of the country, but they make some damn good barbecue at Pedrati's. So if I don't get out there, eat one or two for me.
Being the opening act, I actually get to eat tomorrow, so that's going to be fantastic. I don't get to eat at my shows because you never want anything to just come loose if because it'll leave things. So yeah, that's going to be great. I'm going to be able to actually eat something at one of these shows for a change.
Which is good. Tell Scott to get him one too, because they make some damn good sandwiches out there, and I love it, man. Because all the fixes, onions, pickles, and everything else too. And It's a good old chopped beef. You can't beat that. All right, the Chuck Wimer fun. Let's go to the rapid fire. Outside of music, what are some hobbies you enjoy doing?
Yeah, sadly these days I don't even have hobbies anymore. I still have a day job, so Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday I got to do that. Hobbies are just, well, I take that back. Coaching my son's football team, that's kind of a
Okay.
hobby because I'm not a coach. I just happen to like football, so I helped out with that. I guess that's the closest thing to a hobby I've got right now, and I guess podcast editing and stuff like that. We started doing a podcast based off of that song that we were talking about earlier, Whiskey, Texas, and You. So we have the Whiskey, Texas, and You podcast now where we talk about those three things.
Man,
I guess that's a hobby, right?
That's
it's not a business
yet.
yet.
That's what I do here with this too at the same time, except, it's turned into something else now beside more than a hobby, but it's still, I love doing it, man. Just giving artists a platform to stand on. All right. On the road, I know you mentioned the barbecue sandwiches and maybe barbecue, but is there another food that you and the band love to get into?
Yeah, my wife was laughing at me. Whenever we stop by QT, they have those buffalo chicken tornadoes. It's
Those are
basically
good. They're dangerous.
yeah.
They're good. Yeah.
I grab 2 of those every time, and it gags my wife because those things stink to high heck. But yeah, I love them.
They're good. It's like I said, guilty as charged right here too on the show too, because I'll admit that, no doubt. Let's do this one here. If Chuck won the lottery tomorrow and could go play any dream stage you wanted to, what dream stage would you step on with the money?
Oh, well, I don't think you can buy your way onto the Opry stage, but so I'll go with Green Hall. I go play Green.
Green Hall. I was just out there a couple weeks ago with our good buddy Randall King, and I can tell you right now, see Chuck Wimer and Randall King kind of standing side by side playing music, and what a crowd it was out there too. So again, that's the legends have stepped on that particular stage, and you're probably right. I guess you can't buy your way onto the Opry too. Or what's the first thing you do with the money if you won the lottery?
I thought this whole thing out when the money was big. I'm buying land. I'm buying a bunch of property. I'm putting 4 houses on it, and 5 houses. One of them's going to be the studio / practice room, and whoever's in my band, they each have a house. And as long as they're in the band, they don't pay for nothing. The house is paid for. Then they have no excuses for why they can't make practice time. We got a rehearsal. Go to the rehearsal house.
That's one of the best answers I've ever heard here on this program. Nobody has gone that far with the lottery question, no doubt. Last show to binge watch, what'd you get into?
Last show we watched was Animal Kingdom. I'm not talking about the one we're watching now.
Yeah,
Animal Kingdom. So it was kind of a criminal family. And it was pretty good. I can't really do it justice by explaining because as you explain it, it'll give away a lot of the stuff that's going on in there. So it's about a family full of criminals, and it was a good show.
I can't wait to say. I need something new to watch, so check that out. What's that on? Is that Amazon? Is it Netflix? What's that on?
I think it was on Netflix. I think that's where we saw it.
Looking forward to reconnecting that and try to check out some good TV there too. Love that one. Favorite toppings on pizza? What does Chuck like?
Oh man, I'm a big fan of sausage. I like sausage on pizza, sausage, cheese, and I mean you could throw anything on there really, but keep away from pineapples and anchovies. There's no.
See, I like the occasional Hawaiian, but
that's just a communist way of life.
No pineapple in your pizza, no doubt about it. Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be some good barbecue sandwiches, a good time, and a good show tomorrow. Full Circle Moments putting it on with Texas Hunter for Heroes. And, of course, Texas Hunter for Heroes South Texas. Make sure you guys get tickets at ticketbud.com. The great Chuck Wimer and Scotty Alexander tomorrow night, Pedrati's Ranch. Doors open at 7. Helotes, Texas. I might get out there, too, if I get in town on time. Have a good time with that and just have some of those barbecue sandwiches there. Because I'm going to tell you this. When I got married there, we actually did the catering and the food and all that kind of stuff. And if you guys go, take my word for it. If I'm wrong, slap me. But at the same time, I'm not wrong because we all like to eat out there. And they got some of the best barbecue and catering out there at Pedrati's Ranch in Helotes. Get those tickets, ticketbud.com. Take part in the raffle. 100% of the proceeds go to the veterans they serve there from Full Circle Moments and Texas Hunter for Heroes. For Chuck, what about that guitar? And check out chuckwimermusic.com for more of the tour dates and everything out there. Chuck, appreciate the time giving us a vine here on the program. Looking forward to reconnecting again in the future. Best of luck with the show tomorrow night.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You got it. Love and Theft coming up here in a little bit on the show. The triple header today, tomorrow. Tristan Cole and our good friend over there, Sammy Sadler. We'll talk about the murder on Music Row at 2 o'clock coming up tomorrow and some of Sammy's new music. Again, presented by Bangtail Whiskey and our friends at Honky Tonk, Texas. We'll see you guys back here with Love and Theft at 4:30. Stay tuned.